Let's keep it real. Weddings are full of beauty, love, and waste. And if you've already chosen your venue, your dress, and are wondering what else you could do to reduce your wedding's environmental impact without giving up the style, then you are in the right place. Sustainability in weddings doesn't just end with the decor or the menu, it carries through every single guest experience and every thoughtful touch. These are the small decisions that shape the entire guest experience and have a huge impact, not just on how your day feels, but on the planet too. So if you're planning a wedding that feels as thoughtful as it does stylish, then you're in the right place. And if you haven't watched part 1 of this eco luxury wedding series yet, I highly recommend starting there. We covered all the big topics from venue choices, fashion, florals, and styling that feels elevated but still really sustainable. And in today's video, part 2, we're covering all the guest-facing elements that help you lower your environmental impact in a way that still feels luxurious, beautiful, and completely personal to you. From guest travel to dress codes, to wedding gifts, to invitations, and all those tiny details that tie the day together, this is where intention meets impact. Welcome back, my loves, to the Curated Wedding. I'm Nasli. I run Offly Place, an award-winning wedding venue where we've hosted hundreds of beautiful wedding days. I've also recently gotten married myself, so I'll be unveiling all my insider secrets and top tips from both sides of the aisle so that we can discuss the art of a curated wedding. So if you're interested, hit the subscribe button as well as the bell to be notified of my weekly wedding tips so that you don't miss a thing. In this 2-part series, we're breaking down how to plan a sustainable wedding that doesn't compromise on luxury. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, you'll find that linked below, and we've covered all the biggest design elements from venue, food, florals, and fashion. And today we're going to focus on guest experience, gifting, all the little details that often get forgotten but truly make your day feel complete. Let's get into it. Guest travel. Guest transport is one of the biggest contributors to your wedding's carbon footprint. If your venue isn't local to most of your guests, or if you're having a destination wedding, think about ways to organise everyone's travel, so offering group transfers or shuttle buses, which not only keeps everything really simple for your guests, but it dramatically reduces the emissions. If your ceremony and reception are at 2 different locations, consider how your guests are going to get between them from one to the other. Shared travel options are also a stylish and practical way to minimise impact, and they can also be a really fun part of the day. On the other hand, hosting everything in one beautiful location, like we often do at Offly Place, eliminates the need for extra travel entirely, and it is the most sustainable option of all. The bridal party. Sustainability also applies to your bridal party, and one of the simplest and most stylish ways to reduce waste is to rethink traditional matching bridesmaids looks. I love a mix and match approach in complementary tones, and it always looks more elevated and allows your bridal party to choose something they're actually going to wear again, rather than this one style fits all sort of dress that might end up getting stuck in the back of their wardrobe. You can even extend this to materials to encourage your bridal party to choose dresses made from sustainable fabrics, or suggest second-hand or rental options. Platforms like Her or By Rotation are full of elegant rental pieces that are perfect for a wedding. For hair and makeup, consider looking at stylists who use cruelty-free, vegan, or low-waste products. That's a small change that adds up when you consider the size of your bridal party. And when it comes to gifting your bridal party, think twice before you purchase anything that they are only going to use for the day of the wedding. Instead, try and go for pieces that feel really personal and practical. A monogrammed robe they're actually going to wear again, a favourite candle, or a handwritten letter. These little details go a long way without creating unnecessary waste. And if you're gifting accessories, choose pieces that feel really personal and practical so that they don't end up unused after the day. Dress codes and guest outfits. Now, a more open or flexible dress code for your guests can really support sustainability. The more specific or niche your theme, the more likely people will feel like they need to buy something completely new, often for just the only occasion of your wedding day. But a dress code like elevated garden party or black tie with a twist gives room for a little bit of creativity, personal style, and more importantly, re-wearing something they already own. You could even suggest color palettes or fabric ideas to guide your guests rather than prescribing a particular style. This lets them feel a little bit more confident in their choices without creating unnecessary waste. You can also highlight rental options or even pre-loved platforms as part of your dress code guide. The key is to make sure your guests feel comfortable and confident whilst encouraging them to adhere to the values of your wedding day. Some couples that I've worked with have actually clearly written on their wedding website website that sustainability is important to them. So they suggest that their guests wear something that they already own. Including just a little note like this encourages conscious choices and takes the pressure off your guests, and they're always going to appreciate that little nudge towards sustainability. Wedding gift. Now let's talk about your wedding gift list. Instead of traditional registries full of homeware that you might not need or things you already have, consider alternatives that align more closely with your values. One of the most popular options right now is a honeymoon fund. It's a great way to let guests contribute towards something more memorable or more meaningful, and they'll feel great knowing exactly what their gift is going towards. We did this for our own wedding and asked for contributions towards our honeymoon or our new home together, and our guests were able to choose which one they wanted to contribute towards. It felt so special knowing our guests were helping us build our future, the next chapter of our lives, rather than just filling our cupboards with things that we might not even use. Plus, this option is far more practical. There's no need for guests to worry about bringing a physical gift, to worry about wrapping or transport anything to the venue, or you having to pack them in your car the next day. Everything is handled digitally and seamlessly, and you can take your time and choose your purchases with intention. If you wanted something a little more fun, you can always create a small list of experience-based gifting like cooking classes or wine tastings, or even a donation to charity that's close to your heart. There's something really beautiful about starting your marriage with generosity and intention, and your guests will appreciate being a part of that. Another really lovely idea is to curate a small list of artisan or handmade pieces that you'll cherish for years to come. Think of things like lovely quality handwoven blankets, original art, heirloom-worthy ceramics, just beautiful items that are really consciously crafted and add meaning to your home. You can include a mix of options and even leave a little bit of space for guests to give something more personal or something outside of the list if you'd like. Invitations. Now, sustainable stationery is becoming more and more beautiful. While digital invites are obviously the most low impact option with zero printing, packaging, or posting, I think they're also incredibly practical. As someone who's quite type A when it comes to organization, I found digital invites to be a total dream. You don't have to worry about whether the invite got lost in the post, how long international delivery will take, or even if someone's received it or not. Your guests can RSVP in seconds and click straight through to your wedding website for all the info. For me, it just kept everything really clean, clear, and efficient. Now, of course, I guess it, there's something undeniably special and timeless about a printed invitation. And if you're leaning that way, there are still plenty of planet-friendly choices. Choose FSC certified paper. You can choose recycled cardstock, or you can even choose seed paper that can be planted afterwards for a really charming and symbolic touch. You can also work with local printers who use eco-conscious inks and minimal packaging. One thing that I would suggest considering is to only get printed invitations for your nearest and dearest, the people who you know are going to cherish and keep it as a memento of your day. Another idea to get the best of both worlds is to go hybrid. So send your save the dates on your RSVP reminders digitally and reserve the printed invitations for the main event. It just cuts down on paper while still giving your guests that beautiful tactile moment. And one more detail, consider printing fewer inserts. A thoughtfully designed wedding website can carry most of your event's details, meaning that you need less paper overall, and guests can always find updated information in one place. Favors. Now, when it comes to favors, less is definitely more. Firstly, I want to stress that favors are absolutely not necessary for a wedding, and your guests won't even notice them, and it won't take from your day at all. So if this isn't for you, this is your sign to skip it altogether. But if you really do want to add in a favor for your guests to take home after the wedding day, I always say that the best favors are either edible, usable, or personal. That way they're not just lovely on the day, but they also won't go to waste afterwards. Some of my favorite ideas include mini bottles of olive oil, local honey, handmade chocolates, or even beautiful matchboxes customized with your initials on your wedding day. Something small, meaningful, and something that your guests are actually going to keep and use. You can also tie your favors into your wedding decor. I love this idea from one of our couples who grew small potted herbs in the month leading up to their day and used them both as place settings and as favors for their guests. It was such a thoughtful and personal touch, and the scent of rosemary and thyme on the tables added so much atmosphere. If you're planning a destination wedding or working with a tight timeline, again, it is absolutely fine to skip favors altogether. I promise you, guests never expect them, and often the most memorable weddings are the ones where everything feels intentional and nothing feels unnecessary. The key to doing it well is to keep it meaningful and practical. A small detail that's done beautifully and thoughtfully will always land better than lots of extras that don't get taken home. Confetti. Let's talk about confetti. It's one of the easiest and most beautiful swaps that you can make for a more sustainable wedding. Traditional plastic or foil confetti might seem festive, but it's one of those things that looks pretty for a moment and lingers far too long. Not only is it not biodegradable, but many venues actually ban it now because of how difficult it is to clean up and then the environmental impact that it leaves behind. Natural petal confetti, on the other hand, is such a simple upgrade. It's biodegradable, it's venue friendly, and it genuinely looks so much more chic in your photos, floating down in soft, delicate colours rather than shiny bits of plastic. One of my favourite ideas comes from a bride who saved all the petals from every bouquet she received from her fiancé while planning their wedding and dried them all out to use as confetti. Not only was it sustainable, but it became such a sentimental detail, literally made from all the love that she'd been surrounded with in the run-up to her day. Now, if drying your own petals doesn't work for you, there are beautiful pre-made options available from small businesses, most of whom use UK-grown, pesticide-free blooms. You can also get really creative with how you present it. You can fill mini paper cones, which can be made of old newspaper or recycled paper. You can use recycled glass jars or even recycled linen pouches that your guests can take home with them. But however you choose to do it, switching to natural confetti is one of those small, no compromise details that just feels as joyful as it is thoughtful. Carbon offsetting. And finally, if you want to take things a step further, you can actually offset the environmental impact of your whole wedding. This is such a beautiful way to acknowledge the bigger picture and give back in a meaningful way. A great tool for this is Mindfully Wed, which has a carbon calculator specifically designed for weddings. It takes into account everything from travel and energy use to catering and decor, so you can see the full picture of your wedding's carbon footprint. Once you have that estimate, you can then choose to support verified offset projects like reforestation or renewable energy, and that's just going to balance out your emissions. It's a simple step, but it's one that really closes the loop on all of the effort that you've put into planning a more conscious celebration. It's a lovely gesture that says, we've thought of everything, including the planet. I've linked all their details in the description box below if you'd like to have a look. So that wraps up part 2 of our guide to sustainable luxury weddings. And if you haven't yet seen part 1, definitely watch that next. It covers all the core elements of your day, from food and fashion to decor and florals. Together, these little decisions add up to something so meaningful, a celebration that not only reflects your love, but also your personal values. One that feels thoughtful, intentional, and personal in every single detail. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really means so much. Let me know which sustainable swaps you're planning to include, or if you have any additional tips of your own, I'd love to hear what you're working on. You can also follow me on Instagram at the.curated.wedding and sign up for my monthly newsletter for more insider wedding tips and my trusted supplier recommendation. Until next time, happy planning.